Hello, everyone. I am so excited that you guys could join me today and do this workshop, the Live, Give, Grow workshop. Unfortunately, we are now going to do it via Zoom. COVID things happened and it kind of changes things a little bit, but that's okay because you guys joined me and I'm so excited to have you here. So we're just going to kind of work through some slides just so you guys know it's progress over perfection. I haven't done this before, but this is new. And so bear with me. I like to talk with my hands, but we will get through this, okay? So a little bit about myself. I am here because I want to help you guys reach your financial finish line. And that's going to look differently to each and every one of you. And that's why I'm so excited, because we really want to make sure that your financial plan is on point. And of course, I use humor for things, you guys. So welcome to who we are. At Insure, I was in the industry in multiple different organizations, and when you can't find what you're looking for, you need to create it. And that is why I created Insure. I have a heart to serve people. I have a really passionate why I do what I do, being widowed really young. I'm purpose-driven. I want to share my manual with you. We inspire to see the world very differently, and we equip and encourage you to make informed decisions. We empower you to live out your best life. You should connect with us. Why? Because we're awesome, we're fun, and you guys have connected with us, and so thank you so much. And you know what? We encourage you guys to tell other people to connect with us because we serve, share, equip, inspire, encourage, and empower you guys all to finish well financially. And that is the key, my friends, and that is why you guys are here today. So thank you for joining me. This is such a funny one. It was so hard. I did photos with my daughter and our photographer, and he absolutely did an amazing job capturing my love for life. And it's a good thing I had my daughter there because she was spinning me in this chair. And so of course I asked other people to write my bio for me because it's so hard to write about yourself. And so I come with a lot of energy. I come with a lot of passion, you guys. We're going to have real, honest, hard conversations. They're going to be humorous. That's a little bit about, you know, what I bring to the table. And it's so nice to meet each and every one of you. I know that right now you can only see me on the screen, but I see you. I see you guys, and thank you for being here. I want to start off with, why are you here? And are you guys ready for your future? And I love the fact that you are here because that means you are taking action towards your future. And that's a wonderful thing. Oh, the slides are gonna, you know, do their thing. You just never know. I'm going to back up here for a second. There we go. Would you say that the word contentment is elusive? We throw it around all the time. Are you content? Are you living out, you know, in contentment? What does that look like? And it's funny, I've got people in the chat saying, oh my gosh, it's elusive. It doesn't exist. We're always striving to, and you're right. Yeah, we are always, it feels as though we are always striving to reach that. But let me tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. I'm going to try to remember to talk slower, you guys, too, because I know it's kind of one of those things that I do. What is contentment? Contentment is a state of happiness and satisfaction. Now, I see that kind of a little bit differently because I look at those who manage their finances with confidence using the Live, Give, Grow model, actually experience contentment under all economic circumstances that may arise, and COVID has shown them that. So we have increased communication, unity within partnerships, marriages, maximizing generosity of your time and your talents and treasures leads to finishing well. And at the end of the day, my friends, contentment is a choice. Contentment, according to Dr. David Jeremiah, is looking back without regret, looking at the present without envy, and looking at the future with no fear. Now, how hard is this for so many of us? Yeah, I fear the future. I can have envy for what other people got going on, right? It's super hard. We live in this world where social media just throws and points at us how well everybody else is doing. And then we're like, what has happened to me? And I know you guys are with me on this. More money, more problems. We love camping, we love campfires, we like s'mores. And so I thought this is a good little, you know, visual to put in there that sometimes it seems like when people have more money, they have more problems. So we got to learn to be content with what we got. Now, to the feature of why we're here, the Live, Give, Grow model. Now, you guys, this is not my model. This is a model that I have taken on from Mr. Ron Bloom himself. He is a phenomenal leader in the financial industry, and it really speaks and resonates to how I want to live out and how I want you to live out. And so when we break this down a little bit, we've got live, so spend less than you earn. We think it sounds simple, but it's hard. Give to causes that you care about. That's going to be different for each and every one of us, and that is a beautiful thing. Oh, we obviously have debt and we owe our taxes. And then to grow, we need to create margins to meet our goals, the short term and the long term. So when I think about, how we spend our money, you and I both, there's really only 5 ways that we can spend money. And I break it down in this way so you can see how it comes into the live, give, owe, grow model. Now we have 5 uses of money, one being lifestyle spending, our daily living, right? Giving, what are we doing with our money to help other organizations or families or friends? What's that look like? Taxes, we have to pay our taxes. And we're going to touch a little bit on that because I'm going to try to challenge you guys a little bit to view that differently. Debt repayment, and then savings and investments. Really, that's what you spend money on. Would you not agree? So how many people of you agree with that? That's an accurate statement. That's really what we spend money on. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Wonderful. I'd like to have participation, so thank you guys for doing this with me. Now, when we think about the live category, there's 3 questions that many people come to me and they ask me. They're like, Amy, how much is enough? Will I have enough? And will it down the road continue to be enough? Those are great questions. And sometimes in today's world, you'll hear people say, well, you need over $1 million to retire. And really for everybody, their enough is going to be different than yours. Everyone's got what their finish lines look like, and they're all going to be different. And that is what I love about this, because we at Insure really want to tailor your plan for what you feel is enough, where your contentment is going to lie. Now, these are some of the questions when we start thinking about your finish line. Have you set your finish line? And so I do, when we were going to do this in person, I had some worksheets that I was going to hand out, so I can send these to you guys. And some people are asking if their PowerPoint is going to be available. 100% I'll send it to you. Just give me your emails, you guys, and I will send you the information that you need so you can have the worksheets and listen to this again and again and share it with whoever you like. So have you set your finish line? What does it look like? Like, paint me a really good picture. And can you articulate it clearly, concisely, and accurately? And who is helping you get there? Now, the reason why I ask that is because when you look at sports teams, so I've got 3 kids, we watch our sports, we like our sports. There's normally a coach, and the coach is going to get them to those playoff games, right? As long as people have accountability and do the hard work as well, but there's a coach that's going to guide them and direct them. So who is helping you get to your finish line? We always get better results when we have somebody helping us, right? Our taxes, we get better results when we have an accountant on our team. Personal fitness, we get better results if we have a personal trainer on our team. Same goes for you guys for finishing financially well. You're going to have better results by having a professional on your team, such as myself. Now, this is going to be different for everybody, guys. Who owns it all? Now, I'm a Christian, and I believe that God owns it all, but that may not be your belief, and that is okay. That's not what this is about. But I do want to make this very open for everybody that no matter where you come from, this is a foundational piece. The live, give, owe, grow is foundational to you finishing well, regardless of what your religious beliefs are, okay? And is the next generation ready? That's a pretty big statement. Now, the next generation, that is our kids, our grandkids. Are we educating and teaching them? Is the school system? We know the answer to that a little bit, right? So many people come to me and say, well, my kids are learning about this in school. This is why I will be hosting another workshop down the road. That is, how do we teach our kids about money so kids can learn some of these skills as well? But is the next generation ready? Now, I'm just going to take a drink of water. Now, some of the things that we need to really put into practice are some skills, and we need to develop some of these skills. And we need to master them, right? Master these skills. Decision-making, goal setting, cash flow management, and wealth transfer. Now, why is this important? Okay, let's break it down. Decision-making. What is driving you? Now, I always say to people, I kind of come with some unconventional wisdom, and I really want to have those real, honest, vulnerable conversations as to where do some of your money habits stem from. And sometimes we have to go to that nitty gritty. But I say that, we're going to take you from nitty gritty to nice and pretty. But what is driving your decision? There is no independent financial decision, meaning there's a ripple effect. For every action, there is a reaction. For those of us who are parents, we explain that to the kids when they come to us and they're like, you're yelling at us or you're mad at us. Well, wait a second. How did I get here? Your actions caused a reaction, a ripple effect. So there is no independent financial decision. Advanced lifestyle decision-making bears fruit for generations to come and creates freedom. Now, kid you not, if you're a parent, once again, I always go back to this because I'm a mom of 3 kids. They watch me like hawks, I swear. They call me out on all my crap, and that's good because I called them out on their crap too. But every decision you make, it's going to affect generations, and they're watching you, and be aware of that. And there's a catchy phrase, more is caught than taught. And we're baseball fans as well, so think about that for a second, right? Now, goal setting. It's so important that we have short and long-term goals and desires for your future. I want you guys to dream, and I want you to dream big. I want that for you. Now, there's also sacrifice that is required because it's like a trade-off. But there's always sacrifice in all areas of life, not even just our finances. Accountability. Now, I really believe that when you have a relationship, in all areas, there needs to be accountability on both parts. So me, as your financial planner, your advisor, I am going to ask that there's accountability. I want you to hold me accountable, but I'm going to hold you accountable too. And sometimes you're not going to like what I say, but I say it because I care and it's going to help you. And having a meaningful life plan. Now, this is not just your finances. I believe wholeheartedly in whole life excellence, and I talk about that all the time. And I really want, and I believe if you live by these live, give, grow, you're going to live out a life of significance with whole life excellence. Now, when we think about our cash flow management, the longer perspective that you have, the better financial decisions today. So this is sometimes we can get caught into where we have narrow vision and we're like, yeah, but I want that. I want that instant feeling of, okay, yes, I got something new, I like it. Instant gratification, trust me. I'm guilty of this. But I really need to make sure that I put my, my wide lens on and look at this. Wait a second, I want a longer perspective. So that's going to affect my decisions that I make today. And having that in your mind and thinking about this and that ripple effect that it can have is a wonderful thing to master. Now, financial maturity is being able to give up today's desires for the future. Same thing, the sacrifice. We talked about that earlier, right? In goal setting, there's sacrifice. If you want something, you got to kind of give up something else maybe to get there. And that's a good thing. Wealth transfer. We want to pass along values and wisdom before money. And I think this is so important, you guys, because without the wisdom and the knowledge and the values, there's a saying out there, what is it? One generation to make the money, one generation to save it, one generation to spend it. And it's so true. And if we're not teaching our generations how to manage money wisely, it's going to be gone because we're not giving them the knowledge and the wisdom to handle it properly. So let's pass that along. Training the next generation to manage the money is a byproduct of character development. When I heard that, I was like, poof, so true, right? When we can manage and make good financial decisions, it shows character. What are you spending your money on? When we watch, our kids being willing to give up one of their Christmas presents for somebody else in need, that's character development right there. But that's also caught, not taught. They watch that, so they're watching you. So are you living out in that way? So teaching to the head is training to the heart, and there's a trade-off. Like I said, sacrifice, time and effort, and money and reward. Don't worry, you guys will get these slides. Yeah, I'm glad. There's some comments coming in that, some of these one-liners are phenomenal. You're right, they're great. So let's take a peek at what do we feel as though the culture looks at regarding your cash flow. And I want to know your thoughts on this, you guys. So please put in the chat what you think, because maybe I'm wrong. Like when I look at society, I look at this and I think that this is pretty on track for what I'm seeing. You know, we have income come in, we have a lifestyle, we have taxes, we pay back our debt. We actually have a cash flow deficit. So then there's more debt, there's less giving, and we're not meeting our long-term goals. Would you say that that's true? I'm going to wait for people to respond in the chat, you guys. Yeah, it is true. Absolutely. And not in all cases, right? And I'm not saying it's in all cases, but it's definitely, this is on the rise. And this is why it is so important to have these workshops to kind of bring a little bit more, you know, attention to how we're spending our money. Challenges that are in today's culture, and, you know, we can agree to disagree. I'm not saying that I am right when I point out all of these things, because that may not be the case, but it's definitely something to put thought to. Instant gratification. Oh, I myself can do this. If I'm having a bad day, I can, not always, but I can go to retail therapy. I can also go to emotional eating. Kid you not, like we're all human, right? Selfishness. Well, I deserve that. I did a really good job. Or, you know, this has been a tough year. I deserve to buy that. We can justify all of these things. Entitlement. You know, and I've noticed this sometimes with my kids, especially, I'm going to share a little story around this. And so entitlement, my kids, after I was shortly widowed and my kids were in hockey, cheer, and ringette. Super expensive sports. We were really, really busy. And my son was watching a lot of other people on the hockey team get brand new skates or new gloves, whatever, you know, they were getting new things, even though their old ones were not damaged and not in bad shape. And so my son's like, but Mom, I want them. I want new ones. And I'm like, what's wrong with your old ones? And he's like, but Mom, like the other kids are getting it. And I'm like, oh, honey, like, I love you. The other kids, some of them also have 2-income families, and here your mama's struggling, you know, like, Cody, we don't have the same amount of money that we used to. We need to adjust and adapt to our new circumstances, to our new normal. And part of him had this entitlement to him. And I had to have real honest conversations with him to explain things are a little bit different. And that I needed to be careful with money and wiser, and that his gloves were just fine. Now, who else can relate to that as parents raising kids and having to feel like we have to keep up with the Joneses? That's the next bullet point, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. There's that commercial that they actually, Wayfair has it on the commercial. And I don't know if any of you have recognized it, but it shows a mailbox. And these people were having this funny little banter back and forth about who gets a new faucet or the stereo in the shower. And it does, on their mailbox, it says Joneses. And I was like, I wonder how many other people got that subliminal message that was in the commercial. It was mind blowing. I was like, I paused it and I called in my kids. I'm like, come. You gotta see this. Like, look at what commercials can do. Disposable. Now, how many of you, when something breaks in your house, I'm like, okay, time to go get a new one. You know, the blender breaks, I'm getting a new one. Dishwasher breaks, I'm getting a new one, instead of getting things repaired. And whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. I'm just saying, trust me, my dishwasher gets broken. I'm like, okay, come fix it. But if it's gonna be too expensive to fix it, I'm replacing it, right? Accountability. Do we feel in today's culture that people are being accountable for how they're spending their money? And last but not least, you don't know what you don't know. So I say this because I don't expect you to do better if you don't know better. And Maya Angelou has that wonderful quote, know better, do better. I say it all the time. Heck, we put it on a mural before, you know, and it's very important that when you know better, it is now time for you to do better. And why do I say that? Because, you know, we are called to be set apart. You know, weird, because normal isn't working. And I put that in here because there's a funny story around that I wanted to share. And my kids, we have a tradition where we go to the library and we buy used books for each other for Christmas to keep costs down. It's a wonderful tradition, and we get to pick what kind of books that our loved ones get. And my kids found this book, the blue book, and it says on the top of it, weird, because normal isn't working. And they hand this to me for Christmas. So this was a couple of years back. And I opened it up and I looked at them and I'm like, okay, what are you saying to your mom? Like, You guys are calling me weird. What? I'm not weird. I come with excitement and passion. And yeah, I'm a little different, but weird. And once I read the book, it was a phenomenal book. It really gave me perspective on what my kids were trying to tell me, which was a beautiful thing. We are called to be set apart. So if weird is too weird for you, just think of yourself as set apart, because the normal isn't working, okay? I like sharing stories, you guys. Okay, now are we gonna have a glitch in my computer system? There we go. This is such a great visual. Self-sabotage. Now, who has done this? This is gonna take courage to own this. I have lots. I do it in all areas. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's so easy to do it. And sometimes, you're right, we sometimes do it consciously and unconsciously. And that is kind of really what I want to talk about too, because we cannot fix some of our, habits or behaviors, good or bad, unless we actually figure out where they're coming from. Now, I believe it's so important for us to grow personally and professionally. And so I do a lot of reading, and I love books, and people will recommend books to me, and then, my kids are like, Mom, you're on a book budget, no more buying books. And that's honestly a true story. I have a book budget, you guys. So when people send me things in books, I'm like, okay, I gotta put it on, next time. But I got a long list of books I need to get. But when I've read a couple books about immunity to change and self-sabotage, it is so true. Without a step forward, we remain in the same spot. But why is that? That we as humans, we self-sabotage our very own success. Now, I used to think that it was, fear of failure, self-pity, self-justification, blame, lack of confidence, that we kind of beat ourselves down. But the list can go on, because trust me, yeah, I get it. I've lived there. I know it. But I remember one gentleman said to me, something he had fear of success. And I was like, oh. And I really had to sit on that one for a little bit and break it down. Now, why is it that we want success so bad, but yet we do so much to stop it? Through both conscious and unconscious, right? How do we overcome that? My daughter said something once too. She said, can we change from being our greatest saboteurs to our biggest cheerleaders? And how do we do that? I was like, well, baby girl, that's the $1 million question. You let me know when you got that figured out. So when we experience some of these things, it's honestly, sometimes it can put us in the cycle where we do the same thing over and over and over again. So it's one thing to experience fear of failure, fear of success, but our minds can take it that much further. And it's that self-betrayal, self-sabotage, and it happens so often, and it continues because it goes unchecked. We're not able to recognize that we're in that. Yes, I know. And why do it go unchecked? Because it's hard work, you guys. It's not easy to have that self-reflection, to look at some of those nitty-gritty areas of yourself, right? And the crap that we can all carry around, right? Who else has got crap in this room today? This is a safe place, you guys, let me tell you, okay? Yeah, we all have our crap. Thank you. I'm not the only one. We want to feel like we belong. You guys belong. This matters. You matter. Your future matters. So when I was reading this one book, and it's super funny, I love cooking. And this one book said there was 3 ingredients to unlocking our potential. I was like, oh, sweet, 3 ingredients. I can whip that up in no time, right? And if you're like me and you're a baker or a cook, you're like, 3 ingredients. Wow, I probably have those in my house right now. The 3 ingredients are your gut. You must want it bad enough. Motivation is vital. 2 being head and heart. They work simultaneously. They're not separate. They're one. They're together. Okay. Hand implements the mind and the behavior. So many times people will say to me, what you think is what you do, or you are what you eat, however those things all go, right? Where there is progress is over perfection. Now that's not my line. That's totally not my line, because I used to be a perfectionist and struggled with, and still do struggle with perfectionism, you guys. But this lady, sweet lady, she did a presentation with me once, and she said at the very, very beginning, she's like, Amy, just so you know, when I present to you, this is progress over perfection. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of was like, okay, whatever. But then the more I've like heard it and thought about it and put it into like, yeah, you know what? I'm done like striving for things. I'm just gonna have progress over progress over perfection. And that is where you guys are gonna see me too show up. This is me, this is real. I'm gonna fumble up my words. Welcome to the table. And thank you for being here at this table with me today. So there is no easy task to all of this though. Even though there's only 3 ingredients, it is so difficult to change our neurological pathways. And I have a great visual. Now I'm a farm girl through and through, raised on a pig farm out in Ontario. And if you guys know and driven back roads, which I'm sure you all have, you know what ruts are like in gravel roads. Think of how easy it is to stay in that rut on that gravel road. And the minute you try to get off that rut, you're pulled back in, you're sucked back in. So think about change in our minds. Think about, we have our behaviors and our habits, and we are kind of, set in our ways and we do our thing, but we know in our minds that we have to change course, and we have to change our neurological pathways in our brain to behave differently. That's hard to do because sometimes we can get back into that old rut, that old behavior. There's another funny story about this too. So I was raised on a farm, you guys, and we had like a little Argo, and we lived on a pig farm. So we had manure pits in the back, and my dad he's taking us for a rip on this thing, and he's pretty excited. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go in the manure pit. And I'm like, no. I was young, like probably 6 years old. So I'm freaking out and I'm sobbing, and my dad's laughing. Bless his heart. He probably would never do it. But at the time, I did not know he wouldn't have done that. Okay. So I was like, you need to let me out. You need to let me out. And he did. And I had a wonderful, cookies and milk with our dear friends. But you guys, this takes deliberate action. We have to get ourselves off of those old ruts and change our behaviors. And that's not a hard thing to do. Or sorry, that is a very hard thing to do. Self-betrayal, nitty-gritty to nice and pretty. What is self-betrayal? Well, it's acting in a way that is contrary to what you feel you should do for another or even for yourself. It's called self-betrayal. Great example is, if I know and I get this feeling, and I say compelled, so when I feel compelled that I should be doing something and I choose not to do it, I'm actually self-betrayal. I'm self-sabotaging myself because I was compelled. I felt like I should do something and I chose to ignore it and not do it. That is what we do all the time in all areas of our life. We do it in our marriages, we do it in our parenting, we do it at work, you name it, you guys, we do it. When we betray ourselves and we see the world in a way that now justifies our behavior. So an example, let's say I feel compelled that I should, oh goodness, now I'm having a hard time coming up with an example. Okay, I'm gonna use an example. I feel compelled that I should do something really nice for my neighbor and bring them supper. And I all of a sudden decide, oh, you know what, I'm really tired after work, I don't wanna do it. I actually become that I'm self-betraying myself. But then I justify it by, well, I'm tired, I worked a long day, they've got groceries, they've got food, they can do it themselves. And when we self-justify, our view of reality is very distorted. And then we become closed-minded or in the box. Now, if you guys are, personal development people and growing and reading and learning lots, or even everything you see on social media right now, you hear people talking about the open box or closed box, open-minded, closed-minded, all of this stuff is going on. This kind of is the same thing, right? Character traits that are common with self-betrayal is if we are inflating others' faults, that means we're self-betraying. If we inflate our own virtue, we're often self-betraying ourselves. Blame, inflating the values of things that justify by the self-betrayal. So we see people as objects, not people, and we become defensive. And you know what, guys, it's people first. We are here to serve. We are here to put our hearts out there and help others in all areas. So when you feel compelled to do something, do it. Because otherwise you're going to end up being closed boxes, closed-minded, and into that self-betrayal. Remember, we take you from the nitty-gritty to the nice and pretty. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But where does this stem from? This is huge. Now, we're still talking about the live and our habits with money and our neurological pathways and what things can look like. Did you know that we have lies that we believe about money? I've got some question marks coming in the chat. Yeah, like, what do you mean? Well, let me ask you some questions. What was money like for you growing up? Everybody's got their own stories. These are phenomenal. And I love when people share their stories with me. So what was money like for you growing up? Now, if I look at how money was when I was growing up, and I, look at how money was for my husband that we married, what money was like for him growing up, very, very different. Very different. And it actually comes into play into our relationship and how we spend money. Now, what is your first memory of money is another great question. Now, these questions, guys, requires you guys to go deep. And you may have to start thinking about it and uncovering things that maybe you aren't so proud of. And sometimes when we talk about money, shame can come in. But shame's not welcome here, you guys. We are having just real, honest, vulnerable conversation about why we live out the way we do and how can we do better. Know better, do better. So what is your first memory of money? Now, my first memory of money, I'll share with you guys openly here, is my mom and dad lost a lot of money when I was younger, like a lot of money, like $80,000 when I was younger. They thought that the employer could pay them and kept working, and then they couldn't. It was messy. It wasn't good. I remember how it changed our life dramatically. And it was this very, very scary thought for me as a kid because I didn't know what was going to happen next. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with the house we lived in, where we were going to go. And so this is the thing. I was like, oh my goodness. When I had that realization, I was like, okay. And as I was asked that question, my daughter was in the kitchen. And so I looked at her, and when I asked her, she was 16 at that time, and I was like, baby girl, like, I call her baby girl. She's not a baby, she's 16. She's actually almost 18 now. But at the time when I asked her this question, I'm like, what was your first memory of money? And she looked at me and she's like, well, that one's easy, Mom, when we lost everything when Dad passed away. And then I was like, holy cadoodle. That explains her habits with money. Now I say that because she has had a job since she's been 14, and she is a hoarder. Being her mom as a financial planner, that's a wonderful thing to have a kid who is a hoarder, but in the same token, that's not healthy either. And I want her to be able to spend money and not hoard. And I want her to have healthy financial decisions that are not driven by her past experiences. And this is why I want you guys to kind of dive into some of these areas of the unknown and bring those up. And I want you to have these discussions with your partners because it is so important to understand where they're coming from, because you might actually have insight as to why they do what they do. Now, I will be doing another workshop on money languages because that plays a huge part, just like love languages. Money languages help bring unity within partnerships as well. Okay, you guys, so stay tuned for that. Now, what do you believe about money and your future? Do you believe that you're going to do well and have money and have a great future? Do you believe you're not? No, believe do, right? What you think, you create. Dig deep. Why do you spend money the way you do? What's driving you? Remember, we went back a couple of screen slides away, and I asked you, what's driving your financial decisions? So dig deep. Why are you spending the money the way you do? What's driving that bus? Right? Is it something you need, something you want? Is it an emotion that's driving it? Is it a fear? Fear of what others will think. Okay. Oh my word. This was so big for me for so many years, and still at times is, you guys. Fear of man, fear of what other people will think. Now, why is this so big for me? Stems from growing up. My mom and dad were really concerned about what other people would think. They were rug sweepers. They were. And so I, too, can do the same thing. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Cover it all up underneath pretty rugs. Fake it till you make it. Don't show that. Trust me, I had that nailed down pat for a long time. And that is why I'm like, you know what? No, this is me. I'm going to screw up. I'm going to say something wrong. You may not always like what I say. I now am not for everybody. But I am so glad that you guys join me, because that means I might be for you. You may love my energy, my passion for what I do, which is great. It warms my heart. What are your beliefs about yourself? Do you feel that you have value and that you are worth it? Right? We are going deep, my friends. Ooh, I like this. You know, we talk about know better, do better, but I think there's more to it than that. You know, remember we talked about the 3 ingredients in a couple of the books I was reading? I kind of broke it down in this way that, you know, you really have head knowledge, heart knowledge, but then it takes action. And true change needs all 3. Now, we're going to break it down into each category because I think it's important. Okay, so in the head knowledge, understanding the workings of your spending habits and the decision making when it comes to your finances is key. What are the stories that you have scripted in your mind? Now, if any of you are Brene Brown fans, and I am, love her to pieces, learned a lot about vulnerability and, you know, when and when not to bring it out to the table. But we have stories, we have scripts that we have in our own minds that are not always accurate. And going unchecked, they can be damaging to us. And we really need to, you know, pull those in and figure out what stories and what scripts we have. Know your finances inside and out. And this is a funny one because, you know, when I do my own budget and I'll do it off of my mind and I'll be like, okay, yeah, I think, you know, this is what I spend per month. Yep, we're good. And I know because I like accountability, right? So I'm going to go back to my bank statement and I'm going to look to see how accurate I am and what I think I'm spending. And kid you not, oftentimes there's actually a pretty big difference. And so I encourage you guys to do the same. Know your finances inside and out. Working through your money languages to bring out self-reflection and marital unity is key. You know, love languages, we know that each and every one of us typically has very, very different love languages in a partnership. And I can agree to that. Complete opposites on the board. And same when it comes to our money languages, complete opposites. And now when I think about it and we're working through some of those, you know, difficult moments with money right now, we're like, oh my goodness. Now, one thing you guys need to know is I am so glad you're here and that I'm able to share this with you, but I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself, you guys. So trust me, I'm going through this too. And if I haven't already done it, I'm doing it again. And sometimes I have to circle back because we always do, right? Establishing your finish lines and clearly articulating it, where you're going and why you want to be there. I say to people all the time, what I do is so important, but my why has more value than anything else. And so I want to know your why to your finish line, because, you know, if I set your goals for you, trust me, you're not gonna push to reach them. You're not. They need to be driven by a why of your why to get you there. And then you need a roadmap. You need to get there. And who's helping you, right? I remember driving across Canada to go back to Ontario, and we've done it a couple times through Canada and through the US. And I had to use a navigation system to do it because I'm like, I don't know how to get there, but I'm not just gonna wing that. That would be a scary trip just to wing it. So have a roadmap, right? What are your top priority improvement goals? You need to narrow this down, write them down, and they may not come to you right now, and that is okay, but they will come to you. There's always a trade-off, you guys, between time, effort, money, and rewards. And you have heard me say that over and over and over again throughout these slides. Now, that's the head, right? That's what's going on up here in your beautiful minds, you guys, your beautiful minds. What's going on in your beautiful heart? What is important to you and why? What are you most afraid of? Are you afraid of losing everything? Are you afraid of a sickness? Are you afraid of a disability? Are you scared of cancer? These are real. And they are people's stories. And those stories matter, right? What keeps you up at night? There's stresses. There's lots of things that keep me up at night. And it's hard. So we need to make sure that we're talking about those because they're going to be different for you than they are for me. Now, how does your heart feel knowing your current financial situation? Is your heart heavy? Is it light? Are you on track? What does that look like? And how will your heart feel when you've reached your finish line? Oh, I can't wait to see you reach your finish line. That will be, we will celebrate. I will sing a song and I will we will celebrate that one, you guys. What change do you want to see in the world? I want the world to be a better place, right? I want to be the change that's in the world, and I want you guys to do that same thing. Now, when I say to you guys that it's unconventional wisdom, this is, and it's not for everybody. If you're chasing return on investments, I'm probably not your gal. But if you're chasing return on life, yes, I'm your gal for that. Absolutely, because it's called whole life excellence. Now, what behaviors do you have that sabotage your success? Yeah, right. So there's some things coming in. Emotional spending. That is so real for so many of us. Absolutely. Keeping up with the Joneses, right? We're going back to some of those things that we do that is almost justified in the world, saying it's okay to do this, but they encourage it, and it's actually sabotaging your success. And then now that you know that, and now that we're seeing some of these, behaviors, and we're uncovering some of this, ickiness, if you want to call it that, how does that make you feel? For me, it's making me inspired to do differently, to be better, to do better. And I hope that this is inspiring you too, that you guys can make the changes. What has more value to you? Return on investments or return on life? I'm not saying we're not going to get good return on investments, but my focus is return on your life, because that's my heart. And what is stopping you from getting there and achieving that? And who's going to get you there? That's heart, guys. Now let's take a peek at the other one. This is where the rubber hits the road, okay? The mind and the heart will propel you forward to reach your goals, but words without actions, dead, okay? You guys need to do the work. You need to do that. It's accountability on me, on you. We need to get you to your finish line. And how do we do that? We have to implement a plan, a roadmap. Sacrifice leads to good financial decision. Know better, do better equals transformation. And overcoming your assumptions and your stories and replacing them with truth. So I sometimes have to do an exercise, and my kids know this, and I've shared it with them, and I've shared it with other people, is I have to do, a little drawing of myself, and I put little bubbles of all the assumptions, all the stories my little mind's making up, all the lies that I'm believing about my future. And I need to replace it with truth. Because I need to renew my mind and be transformed and make a difference and go forward. And that's changing the neurological pathway. And that's what I want you to do. Because you have hope, you have a future, you got this. Yes, you do. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad some of you guys are getting excited. You're like, okay, I can do it. So earlier I showed you what I think the world looks like and how they spend money. And this is what it should look like. Take a look at it, you guys. What are your thoughts? Type them in the chat. It looks nice. Yeah, it does look nice. This is a funny one. Looks hard. Well, you know what? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, you guys. So what should it look like? Remember, we talked about the 5 uses of money. So you have your income coming in. We've got the living, we've got the giving, we've got debt repayment, taxes, and then there's savings. And guess where that savings gets to go? It increases your net worth. And then it goes to long-term goals. And what are some of your long-term goals? Perhaps it's financial independence, charitable giving, freedom from debt. Oh, sign me up. Lifestyle desires, traveling maybe, right? Family needs, maybe caring for a loved one. New business venture. Maybe you're just tired of being under the boss you're under, and you're like, I need a change. And had we had enough surplus and savings, you could have had that change. So this is what I want to see you guys achieve. And I can help you get there. Not sure where to start. This is a great visual. I love visuals, you guys. Great visual. Not sure where to start. Well, of course, the first step, we want to eliminate all your high interest and short-term debt. We want to then look at creating an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your expenses. We never know what's going to happen in life. Hot water heater blows, car breaks down, roof, maybe your health, something, right? We want to save for major purchases, maybe car, home, trips, who knows, kids education. We want to make sure that you guys are diversifying to meet your long-term goals, retirement, college, lifestyle change. And that happens. Financial independence, venture capital, new business, and wealth transfer is where you reach your finish line, my friends. And we can get you there. And it's exciting. I want to ask you, if you think about it, we talked a little bit about before how we have children and others that are watching us. Are you guys living out your life in such a way that you would want others to write a book about? Now, when I was first asked that question, I was like, nobody needs to write a book about my life. Like, you know, I'll share it with you one-on-one if you want, but dang, I am not writing no book about that. And then I got thinking, like, if I'm not okay with somebody writing a book, then I need to change my behavior, and I need to live out proudly that my kids would want to write about me. And so this is where it comes down to pass the baton, right? A thriving family can take care of its own needs and the needs of others. I want to be a thriving family. Do you? Yeah, I like it. All the thumbs up. Yeah, you want to be a thriving family. I'm glad. That is good. Now, we covered the live, and that was, you're like, oh my goodness, that was just the live. You betcha. Now, why is it important to give? Big one. And you may or may not agree with this, and that is okay. But giving breaks the power of money. And it is the key to becoming financially free. Giving helps you to reduce your taxes. This is crazy how many times people do not understand that when they have a capital gain, whether it's from a sale of a property, a sale of a business, or you know, a stock or a mutual fund, and they have a capital gain, you can actually give that and end up saving a ton on your taxes. So you have the choices. You can either give the money to the government or you can give it to a charity, your choice. Like, how would you like to do that? So let's talk about that. And this is where we really partner with you as to what's important to you, what's on your heart, what organizations, how do you want to give, what's giving look like for you, and your accountant, because we want to make sure we're doing it in a strategic way. Now, it has impact on the world. You make a difference. Who does not want to make a difference? Yeah, there's no thumbs up right now, because we all, I would hope that we would all want to make a difference. And there's a gentleman that says, I think it's a gentleman, that says we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And you know, I really actually need to check into who wrote that. I'm going to write that down so I can get that later, and I'll update my slide. Okay, thank you guys. Giving in 3 ways too. There's multiple ways to give. You know, you can give to your families and friends. There's compassionate giving and there's strategic giving. Ourselves in our home, you know, we give regularly to our church. We also give to YWAM, Youth with a Mission, because I feel like that's so important, the work that they do. I actually did that when I was 37. Yeah. What 37-year-old goes to Youth with a Mission, honestly? But that's a whole other story, which I would love to share one day. And then there's a compassionate giving, when all of a sudden you feel like something is pressing on your heart. Now, this could be somebody on the street. This could be maybe you buying a meal, maybe you buying their groceries, maybe you paying someone's rent because you know they're struggling. It looks different for everybody, but it is remarkable when you can do it. It truly is. And so when we think about the Live, Give, Grow model, you can kind of put it into a pie. Now, who doesn't like pie? Okay, what's everyone's favorite pie? Apple or pumpkin? I don't think there should be any other pies because, you know, apple and pumpkin are the best. So which one? Let's get some both going maybe. I'll let you guys put that in. I should have did a poll. I didn't even think to do that. Okay, next time I'm gonna have to do the poll, but put it in the chat, you guys, whether you guys prefer apple or pumpkin. And of course, I'm recording this in the fall, and well, it's not fall yet. I guess it's, you know, September, but it's fall to me because it's, you know, pumpkin season starts in September, you guys. Whether you agree with that or not, pumpkin season starts in September. Yummy, and we have it for breakfast. Just saying. Okay, so yummy, yummy pie. See, I've got a lot of people saying pumpkin. There's a couple apples in there, but we'll see. What does your pie look like? If you guys want to know what your pie looks like, send me an email and we can plug in your numbers and figure out what your pie looks like. The cool thing is once you see your pie, it's, this is me when I first learned what my pie looked like. And I was rather embarrassed, I won't lie. Like I was giving nothing and that was hurting my heart. And, you know, yes, I've made changes, but is it perfect? No, it's still, you know, I still want to do better. But this is a visual because, and I like going back to this because then I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to make more changes. I'm not growing like I should be. And I'm not, you know, maybe giving like I should be. And look how much it cost me to live, right? But I'm human. I am human, right? So I'm not going to ask you guys to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. It's hard, yes. But is it worth it? You betcha. It is. And, you know, I don't want you guys to be embarrassed. there is no shame here. Even though I think I was embarrassed, which I was, but there's no shame here. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? There's that lovely phrase of mine that I say, and it's not mine, it's Maya's. I love her. Okay, we're gonna move to the next slide. So we talked about the live, we talked about the give. Now let's talk about the O. Debt. Are you weighed down by the heaviness that can come with debt? Now, I don't want you guys to feel any remorse for how you've lived your life. I don't. This is not what this is about. But I want you guys to realize that we can get you to freedom. And we need to remember to make some changes, right? Avoid the use of debt because debt mortgages our future. Okay, I'm going to read that again because I really like it. Avoid the use of debt because debt mortgages your future. So decisions can never be any better than the best known alternative. Borrowing today results in a lower standard of living in the future. This one got my attention because I was like, oh my word. And so now when I make financial decisions and I want to go get something, I have to think about it. I actually will leave and be like, okay, am I willing to live with a lower standard of living so I can have this item? Now, let's say this item is a car, do I need another car? No, my car's fine. But let's say I want another car. Am I willing to buy another car knowing that it's going to lower my standard of living for the next how many years? It has changed my perspective. It made me realize I'm not willing to sacrifice that. No thanks. And so knowing these little tricks and tips and these tools in your toolbox is going to help you guys to make better financial decisions. You cannot borrow your way to prosperity. Debt strains your relationship. It just does. It can. Especially when you guys dive in, and if you guys are going to attend my money language workshop, you're going to see how debt can strain a marriage. Lifestyle typically drives debt decisions. It does. And let's go back to some of the reasons why we do what we do, right? Keeping up with the Joneses, want that instant feel-good gratification. We feel like we need it, we deserve it. We've worked hard to get it. I'm not saying you haven't. That is not what I'm saying. You likely do work really hard and you likely do deserve it. But borrowing today results in a lower standard of living in your future. Are you prepared for that? This is the biggest myth out there, and oh my word. So I've been in this industry now for a little while, and probably about 5 years, and it is so frustrating for me because my heart and my why are so big. And when I hear people say, well, I don't deal with clients that are, under 100,000 or whatever they say, I get frustrated because your self-worth is never connected to your net worth. No, 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 no. Too many people, this is such a good quote, too many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. Will Rogers, my friend, Will Rogers. What a great quote is that? Now I'm gonna let you guys read that on the screen when I take a drink of water. How many of you like that one? How many, yeah. How many of you can be like, me over here, raise the hand. Proud of it? No. But is it true? Yes. I, my friends, have spent money on things that I don't need to impress people that I don't even like. Which is sad. But know better, do better. So now we've discussed the live, the give, and one part of the O. The other part of the O is taxes. We owe taxes. Now, oh goodness, this makes me giggle, and you're gonna know why here in a second. Because on the screen here, you read that it says thankful. Thankful for taxes? You want me to be thankful for taxes? Yeah, this could probably give you a little bit of a stirring, a confusion. Yeah, no thanks. I'm not happy to pay taxes. We all know what's going on now with the government and the elections and people's feelings about taxes. It's crazy. And trust me, I've been there. I used to say the exact same thing. I remember saying this to my dad a while back when my deceased husband was alive and we had a company, and I remember bitching to my dad about taxes, and I'm like, oh, this is stupid. We have to pay this much in taxes, Dad. Like, and my dad chuckled. And so I want you to picture my dad. My dad is a farm guy. He wears a big cowboy hat and ripped off his shorts and socks with sandals and like a Hawaiian shirt, let's say. He is a character in of himself, and I love him to pieces. But he looks at me and he says, you know, baby girl, because we have this thing for baby girl. Baby girl, when you make money, you pay taxes. And I was like, oh, Daddy, that hurt. Don't say that. So you guys, there is a correlation between income and taxes. This is what I want you to think of for a second. And I don't expect to change your mind overnight, but I do want you to think about these things for the next little while and have it soak in a little bit. Paying taxes is recognizing that you have provision. Now, if you guys don't want to pay as much taxes, I can tell you a little trick. Don't make so much money, and then you don't have to pay the taxes, right? So that's what we got to realize. There is a correlation between your income and your taxes. Now, when we know that, we have to be smart and we have to use strategies to help you. So we need to integrate tax planning strategies because it is critical to your long-term success. This is where I come in and your accountant come in and we look at, okay, what can we do with strategies to help offset some of the taxes that you're paying? Some of this is timing and planning your income. Some of it is shifting and taking advantage of somebody else in a lower tax bracket. You guys know that. Sometimes we're using, you know, tax provisions and deductions or tax credits through charitable giving. This one is underused. Underused. Having a trusted tax specialist in your corner is key. Now, you guys, if you guys don't have somebody, I have wonderful people that I have in my back pocket that by all means I can get you connected with. I definitely interview them all first, and I find like-minded people that are very aligned to me. So if you like me, you'll likely like them. But remember, correlation between income and taxes, recognizing that you have provision, okay? And that there's strategies in place. So that covers the live, the give, and the O. Now let's talk about growing. And this is probably the exciting part. You guys want to see things happen. You want to get to your finish line. But I want you to grow and I want you to have impact. And the impact that I want you to have is a little bit different than perhaps other advisors. Now, we want to build margin because it's the only way for you to reach your goals. And remember, we had that chart that talked about your income and how you spend your money, and then the surplus and your savings, and that's what reaches your goals. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about bottom tiered is what we're working towards. So the longer term perspective that you have, the better financial decisions you're going to make today, right? Ding, ding, ding. Financial maturity is delayed gratification for your future. We talked about sacrifice. What are you willing to give up to have those future goals of yours? But we've got to articulate what your future goal is, right? And we've got to come up with a roadmap, but it's got to be your why you want to do it. It has to be really real for you. Head, heart, do, right? No, believe, do. Now, why, okay, we talked about why financial decisions begins back at your cash flow. Read that again, you guys. Wise financial decisions begins back at your cash flow. You want to have money and margin to grow? Look back at your cash flow. I'll help you. Now, personal and professional development happens here because it requires discipline. If it was easy, everyone would do it and everyone would have great finish lines and everybody would be successful and doing well in life. Yeah, no, this is not easy. This is not for everybody. This is not for the faint of heart. But I want you guys to be inspired and encouraged that you guys can do this. You guys can reach your finish lines no matter where you are right now. We can get you to your finish line. With some hard work, dedication, accountability, we'll get you there. Net worth is the sum total of every financial decision that you've ever made. Yikes, right? Now, who right now, if we're honest, who feels a little bit of shame? Am I where I thought I'd be at this age? No, not at all. Did I expect my life to have some of the turns it did? No. Did I expect to have to start over? And And I'm sure you guys all have stories of your own. And so net worth is the sum total of every financial decision that you've made. Now, this does not determine your net worth, right? This does not determine your value. No. But we do want to be aware of where you've come from and where you're looking to go. And what do you know about your investments? This has been a huge eye-opener for me. And when I say what is in your investments, I want to know exactly that, what's inside of your investment. Are you, aligning your investments with your values and your beliefs? Are they ethical? Are they ESG? Are they helping the environment? That looks different for everybody. Saving money. I got to throw in some fun visuals for this, right? Back in the day, a little while back, I'm going to back up a bit here. Maybe I should back up slides here for a second because that makes more sense before we get you guys thinking about that. I want to touch on something here for a second. And the reason why this is really relevant and why it's really been stirring on my heart lately is to know what's inside your investment is because I have lots of food allergies now. And since I've had all these food allergies, I really have to read the labels of everything. And I've realized that there is many words for sugar. Yeah, who has an allergy to sugar? Like, are you kidding me? Somebody who loves sweets? Sucks. Okay, anyways, reading labels made me realize, oh my goodness, I can't have that. I can't have that. And so lots of things my daughter was taking right out of the cart. Once I put it in, she would take it out because apparently she's better at this whole, adulting thing with food than I am. Who knew? I'm a child at heart, you guys. So I'm being aware of what I'm putting inside my body, right? Because it fuels my body and makes me feel good when I eat well. But what about our investment? Are there things that are inside of our investments that maybe you don't agree with, that don't align with your values or your morals or your belief systems? And do you want to make an impact in the world? Because if you do, are you investing in such a portfolio that does that? If you're worried about environment and social governance, and are you investing in portfolios that do that? And that's something that we look at here at Insure because we feel that that's important. Mind you, that doesn't mean you give up your return. But remember, return on investments or return on life, we bring return on life. So with your investments too, don't worry. Now that we've kind of worked through the Live, Give, Grow workshop, what do you guys feel about the word contentment? Now, do you feel as though it's elusive? I would love to know your thoughts. Can you guys type them in the chat? I've got some people saying, yeah, they used to be striving and this gives them a whole new look at it that, yeah, having your finish lines and knowing where they are allows you to stop striving. Yeah, knowing where your lines are. That's right, absolutely. Knowing where your lines are and what your enough is. Yeah, but being okay with knowing that your enough is very different than somebody else's. Absolutely, you guys, good. Oh, I had somebody say that, okay, can you change your course as you're going through this? So one thing you guys need to know that your financial plan, your roadmap to your finish line is always adjusting. We're looking at it all the time because life changes, right? Perhaps maybe you get a new job, you change jobs, you have another kid, or the kid graduates, or there's school, you buy a different house. There's so many aspects to your plan, and that is why it's so important to have somebody that does this with you, because we will walk alongside you and we adjust your plan accordingly to make sure that, okay, if something's changed, this is what it's going to look like. Your finish line is now changing. Are you okay with where your new finish line is, or do we need to adjust other things to get you to the same finish line that you had before? Yeah, so that was a great question. Thank you for asking that. So another question's come in about, do we take somebody who's had a plan with somebody else and work with that? It doesn't matter where you are, you guys, in your walk with your financial plan. Whether you have nothing and all you have is a whole bunch of paperwork, that's okay, because we take the nitty gritty and we make it nice and pretty. Give it to me and I'll make sense of the mess for you. And we can figure out what your plan looks like. And it doesn't matter if you already have a plan, we can look at that too. We'll give you a second opinion. And if it's great, I will be the first to tell you if you guys have something amazing in your hands. I will, and I will, you know what? Here, go take your advisor out for coffee if they've done a great job, right? I believe we need to collaborate with one another and all work together because we all have different strengths. And kid you not, you guys, as we go through and create and build out your tailored financial plan, I might have to pull in other professionals, other people in my industry, in my field that I think contribute more than what I can contribute because I want to give you the best that I can give you. And that's a phenomenal thing, because then at the end, guess who gets the best results? You, my friends, you get the best results. And that's what this is about. Okay. I'm just trying to look at some of the other questions, you guys. Oh, I love how so many of you are agreeing with a lot of the one-liners. That's good. Yeah. Take them and use them and write them down. You know, if you have to put them on like notes on your wall, do it. These are great. They're going to definitely help you. So I have some people asking what this is going to look like, what the process looks like. Let me walk you through a little bit, but there is this I want to share. Lifestyle decisions now bear fruit that carries on for generations to come, creating freedom. Remember, they're watching you, they're seeing it. Pass on knowledge and wisdom before you pass on money. So key, right? Otherwise, it's going to be gone. I believe this slide is worth repeating. There's no independent financial decision. Accountability leads to peace of mind. There's always a trade-off. A sacrifice is required. Debt mortgages your future. Training to the next generation to manage money has a byproduct of character development. Oh, I love that one. A long-term perspective, the better financial decision today. I was just pointing out some of my favorites on this slide, you guys. But you guys will get this slide in your email box, and then you guys can go back to it and figure out which one's your favorite. So what does this look like? What does working with you Insure look like? What does having a financial plan look like? Now, sometimes in life, people are transactional and they're like, you know, I only need this. Can you just help me with this? I need help with my budget, or I need a sounding board, or I just need coverage. And other times people want a full plan. Now, a full plan, according to FC Canada, is 6 financial steps to planning. And those steps are taking a peek at your cash flow and your budget. We uncover patterns and history, kind of what we were talking a little bit about today. Taxes, ways to minimize your taxes and create efficiency. That's key, working with your accountant, you guys. Risk management, where are you exposed and what's keeping you up at night, right? Retirement, love this. Your dreams, we establish a plan to get you there. Investments, do they align, right? Legacy by design or legacy by default, you choose, your choice. But are you living in such a way that you would want others to write a book? That's how we walk you through it. And this is a little bit about what it looks like in the steps. You know, we do a coffee meeting, meet and greet. You tell us about you, we tell you about how we work. You sleep on it. I want you to know, without a doubt, that we are the right fit for you. And like I said, we may not be, and that is okay. I'm okay with that because I'm not for everybody. But I do promise to bring my best self to the table at all times. And I do promise to work with you, and my heart is in it, right? So once you make that decision that you want to, you know, join the You Insure family, we gather info. Now, this could be different for everybody. Maybe you just have, like I said, a big stack of papers. You're like, here, make sense of this. Maybe you already have a plan. Maybe you have it all in a nice Excel sheet. There's some people that have this all in their Excel documents. It's crazy. Love those people, but I love the mess too. So bring what you got. We gather it all, and then we get you to paint us a really good picture. Now, I had a person ask earlier today, what is it like if you don't know what your finish lines look like? And that is okay, because sometimes it's hard to think that far ahead when we can kind of be in the weeds a little bit, or maybe in a valley of some kind. We actually will ask you lots of questions, and we'll get to know you, and we'll get to know your heart, and we'll come up with an idea and a plan to move forward as to what that looks like for you. Discovery, and then behind the scenes is when we are in the weeds and we are making sense of everything, and we are putting together solutions, and we're going to present it to you. We're going to implement a plan, and we're going to touch base regularly. You betcha. You are part of the You Insure family. That means we are keeping in touch. We have newsletters that go out monthly that have tips and tricks, but also some cool recipes from my family to yours. Share yours with me, my friends. I want them too. And yeah, this is a family, guys. Like, you're going to join in, and we're going to do all this. We're going to make sure that you stay on track. And if we have to pivot, we will. That's what we do. And most of all, I really want you guys to know that people come first. You come first. Your perspectives, your aspirations, your needs, your goals. They're first. People first. I love Simon Sinek. He talks about it too. People first. Purpose and missions, that comes second, because that is really real for me. You know, I'm very clear about my purpose in life and my missions. It's commendable because I've lived the other side of it, growth. It's very compelling, and it's very genuine. it's messy on the other side of not having a financial plan, and I know that. So that is why I share my manual with you, and that is why Insure's tagline is share the manual. Then I come to my personal values where, you know, I believe in character and competence and clear vision, commitment, unconventional wisdom. And that's what I bring to the table to you to make sure that you guys finish well. Now, for those of you who, you know, want to dig a little bit deeper and who are Christians or would like to go and look at stuff, I do have scriptures that do go with the Live, Give, Grow model. This may be up your alley, it may not, but that's okay. This is a foundational piece, has nothing to do with your belief system, okay? And that'll be at the end there. This model itself is not my own. It is by Mr. Ronzo himself, a Certified Kingdom Advisor Educational Program. But we at Insure believe and stand by this model, and we incorporate it into our business model to help Canadians live whole life excellence. And oh my goodness, you guys, is there any questions as we come to a close? And how are you guys feeling? Actually, you guys type in the chat how you're feeling. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling lighter? Are you feeling inspired, encouraged? Or let me know. Oh goodness, there's a whole bunch of different ones. So yeah, there is some people that are feeling overwhelmed. You know what? That is okay, because we've covered a lot, and this is stirring something inside of you that you want to make a change, right? So now you're thinking in your head, well, maybe you tell me, are you thinking in your head that you need to go gather all these documents now? Yeah, that's okay. That's a good thing. And I want to inspire you that you can do this. Gathering those documents is kind of like one of the first things. And, you know, reach out to me. We can figure this out. I'll walk you through. The best part about our relationship is I will walk you through each step by step. You won't be left alone. You're not going to be left in the dark. I keep you updated and informed. And let's just have some good conversations. So I'm so glad. Yeah, some of you guys are saying you guys do. You guys feel like it's a very different approach and you like it. I'm glad you like it. That's warming to my heart that you guys like it. Some of you are saying you don't know how to do this. That's okay. That's why I'm here, to help you. Some of you want that pie. Yeah, that's good. Send me an email and I can help you figure out what your pie looks like. I think pumpkin pie won the battle, you guys. So I really do think pumpkin pie won the battle, which is fantastic because I love pumpkin pie. Okay, is there any more questions? You guys are wonderful, and I appreciate everything that you guys have contributed to this workshop. It is great. I wish I could have seen you in person. You know, I wish I could hear the big virtual hug. Thank you for participating. Thank you for hearing my heart. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for being real and vulnerable. I appreciate it, and much love sent to you guys. And yeah, I hope to chat soon.